Close your eyes and imagine yourself in the average college classroom. You look to the left and then you look to the right. Perhaps you see somebody on their iPhone scrolling through text messages, looking at tweets, or even making a Snapchat. Or maybe you see somebody on their MacBook recording a lecture and typing notes. Apple has become one of the biggest computer companies of the world, breaking many technology barriers. With Apple being the mega corporation that it is today, all big companies have a small starting point. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were college dropouts working out their garage and hopes of creating a smaller, user-friendly computer. Thus, on April 1st, 1976, Apple's Computer Inc. was founded. Working tirelessly, the Apple II was created on June 10th, 1977. The Apple II was the first ever computer to hold color graphics as well as a keyboard attached to the monitor. After the release of the Apple II, profits rose from $7.8 million in 1978 to $117 million in 1980 when Apple went public. With the growing success of Apple, different ideas and interests had suddenly began to divide the growing empire. Apple's future started to look dim with the departures of both founding members. Wozniak was the first to leave in 1983 due to a lack of interest within the company as a whole. He was replaced by PepsiCo owner John Sculley. This new arrangement didn't last long due to the controversy over where to take the Macintosh computer. In 1985, Apple's board sided with Sculley, taking Jobs off of the Macintosh group completely. Later that summer, Jobs left Apple himself and stated in his Stanford commencement speech that his entire life work was gone and it was devastating, and how he viewed himself as a complete public failure. With the departure of both co-founding members, Apple saw its highest profits in 1990. This was mainly due to the deal made previously by Jobs with Adobe on creating the portable document format, also known as the PDF. Now later on, negative decisions made by Sculley had began to negatively affect the company. One being when Sculley declined a deal with Microsoft owner Bill Gates for Microsoft to license Apple software. In 1996, profits had slowly began to decline, and Apple needed to do something to put itself back up at the top of the food chain. In 1997, Apple bought out the next company, which was Steve Jobs' company. Steve Jobs was placed back as interim CEO, and he made new efforts to put Apple back at the technological ladder. He also revamped the computer with the iBook, and he also revamped the computer with the iBook, and he also worked with Microsoft in hopes of making a Macintosh user-friendly Microsoft Office. And in 2007, Jobs released the Apple iPhone, which revolutionized the cell phone industry. With Apple being mainly a computer company, its music ventures such as the iTunes and the iPod had become its most profitable and most popular products. In conclusion, with the power struggles and changes of power in Apple, it did place itself at a high food chain across the technological world. And the next time you do pick up any Apple device, imagine yourself without the front camera or the App Store, or perhaps you imagine yourself without the iTunes and music. With the sudden death of Jobs in 2011, Apple still hasn't stopped making waves across the technological world. With its recent release in 2014 of the iPhone 6, Apple still shows that it's not afraid to scratch the surface and break barriers within the technological world.